what are we going to eat? Now that we've talked about grocery store trip, about filling your pantry, what are you going to do with that filled pantry? Typically, we have discussed in all the past shows, fiber, 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 right? So whole food plant-based diet, when you start with any meal, you prepare any meal, it will have fiber, remember. So I like to start my day fiberful. And the easiest and the best thing I love is oats. And these I usually either bulk buy. I have, I use the grocery stores, the bulk aisles. Either you get that or big packaged rolled oats. You can get multigrain, you can get steel cut, whatever variety you like, but they are the easiest. Rolled oats are the easiest to cook. So
Not
basically,
those packages. Packages are no good, right? So those are the one which full of sugar and all that. So we don't want that. So
I have something in with me. You can see these are just whole grain rolled oats. So basically my breakfast, the easiest and the best meal, I love my meal. Mix the whole grain oats with chia seeds, our good fat and full of omega-3, half a cup of oats, a tablespoon of chia seeds, add my good fats, nuts, walnuts, almonds, a tablespoon, not more than that. And something that we didn't talk about is sugar. Are we going to miss out on sugar in vegan diet? No, not really. Because plant-based diet has sugar. All plants have sugar. Sugar is a component of every plant. So vegetables, fruits, grains, they all have sugar. And what we're going to use for sugar, I usually use dates. In my bowl of oat, I just chop a date, add one mashdul date. Mashdul date is it's a bigger date. It's not the small size date. So you add one date, put in half a cup, 3/4 cup of almond milk and soak it. You can put it in the fridge, forget it. And in the morning, you have the most delicious breakfast ready. And to spice it up, I add a pinch of cinnamon, and my favorite spice is cardamom. That always goes in my oats. And it's like a dessert in the morning. It gets me so excited about my, I get up, I work out, and I look forward to my oats.
Beautiful. Yeah. How about raisins, replacing the dates? Raisins also look good.
This is just a blank slate recipe. You can add raisins to it. You can add, mush a banana into it if you like more sweetness. Top it with strawberries, your antioxidant, your berries. You can switch it up, add a tablespoon of nut butter if you don't want to go for nuts. It just makes very creamier. So, and that breakfast will take me pretty much like, late in the afternoon because it's full of fiber.
Yeah.
All these individual components make, this a very heavy, fiber-rich, complex, carb-dense, and a protein-rich meal. So that's how I like to start my day.
And the fiber will fill you up and will not give you any calories. So
I have a bowl ready right here.
There you go.
It is ready. I can eat it eat it for dinner too. This is something I can eat all day.
Better than having masala chai in the morning. You would have masala chai.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Talk about masala chai. How do you make chai?
I use Oatly full-fat oat milk. That makes the best masala chai.
How do you do that? Is it the same way people make, or
it is the same way, no change. You just add your oat milk to your, however you make your chai. So yes, the chai, our very first morning awakening beverage, it can be perfectly made with vegan milks, dairy milks. Non-dairy milk. You follow the same process. You just add. I prefer oat milk. I love oat milk chai if I have to, but people have their different options. Some people like soy milk. Some like there is another pea protein milk with pea protein. Typically Ripple, yes, or pea protein milk, yes. So whatever milk you make, the same process, but replace that with your favorite plant-based milk. And mine is, again, as I said, oat milk for chai.
Because I had some patients, they actually came back and told me that they tried the almond milk and then put it in the milk first, and then they tried to boil it, and it kind of broke apart and all that.
Curdles.
So they came up with the idea that they boil the tea as it is and then add the almond milk later. So if it's oat milk I guess you have no problem, right?
No problem with oatmeal.
We can just do it the regular, put it in and then boil it, no problem. Okay,
No problem.
that's nice to know. So I can tell my patients also. Nice.
Especially, I love the Oatly oat milk. That is my to go. But you can try whatever oat milk.
So what about lunch, for example? If somebody wants a lunch, what would they do?
So lunch, typically, what I do for lunch is I try to incorporate now, where we talked about variety. So in lunch, I try to incorporate beans, any kind of beans, lentils, vegetables and greens in my food. So a best way and the easiest way for me is I make a lot of mung bean sprouts.
Nice.
Mung bean sprouts have a lot of nutrition. They are rich with most of the amino acids, right? Sprouting process itself,
right.
Sort of creates more nutrition in it. So I typically have mung bean sprouts always going in my kitchen. It's a very simple and easy process. You just soak the beans for overnight or 5 to 6 hours, and then the soaked beans I do it a very old-fashioned way. In a cheesecloth, I just tie them, the soaked beans, just rinse out the water and tie them in a cheesecloth and put it covered in a sort of warm place, usually in my oven. And next day after, they're beautiful and sprouting. So that is my go-to, I would say my go-to lunch, mung bean with beans. Use kala chana, you can use chickpeas, and I add quinoa to it. So it makes a complete protein. Quinoa is very nutritious grain, one of the super grains, I would call it, and a great source of a complete protein in terms of essential protein. So I try to add it to every meal, and believe it or not, when I make burgers, I add quinoa to it. When I'm eating my usual Indian meal, my soul food, dal chawal, quinoa in it. And when we make khichdi, sometimes we add quinoa to it. So that actually brings a variety in terms of nutrition. And quinoa is very bland. It doesn't have flavor. So it's not a strong flavor. It mixes. What I say is it mixes with everything that you add it with. So, and I have my little bowl here ready to go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So, appealing.
And how you can imagine eating this bowl, you will not be hungry for at least your dinner.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes, because it has lots of vegetables. I just have my food processor. My best friend shreds everything, chops everything for me. And, I have everything chopped and ready to go. So meal prep or prepping, being prepared, is one of the best ways to go ahead with this. Have quinoa is always cooked and ready in the fridge. Sprouts are always there, sprouting in a corner of the kitchen. This is like minimal effort work. You are not you're not standing in front of a stove and cooking endlessly. These are the things that are always ready with a little bit of preparation ahead. You have the cream, you got it. Nice. You have all these appliances, you have nice sharpened knives to cut, chop whenever you're ready. And you can always chop and cut vegetables at once and put it in the fridge. So that's always ready for you. So all these things help you sort of build a nice balanced meal, meal after meal for the entire day. So that you can add kale to it, you can add spinach to it, the greens that you just got from your supermarket, add everything. I don't know if you've noticed. Nowadays,
or something, you can even add a fruit to that.
Yes, absolutely. I add raw mangoes to it. In pomegranate season, you add pomegranate to it. Nice. So you get your antioxidants and your fruits also in it, right? Beautiful. And these days, what I have seen in the produce aisle, they have triple washed, ready to eat greens. You don't even have to wash them. They're triple washed. They're all your organic greens. They are in the aisle. So, and then some of the vegetables are also prepped in the farmer's market where I go. They have chopped vegetables ready. That also saves a lot of effort. If you put busy people, right, who don't want to sit and chop, you can get those. So that is my healthy, delicious meal, full of fiber, full of protein, complex carbs, and for my healthy fats, I can add nuts and I can drizzle some extra virgin olive oil. So there you go. You have a whole meal ready for you.
Nice.
Kalki, what do you think about smoothies? I mean, making a smoothie on the go, if you have to go, say, you're driving and you want to eat, have some sort of very nutritious food, and you make a smoothie with fruits, vegetables, you put, a lot of greens inside that, nuts. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I love smoothies. They are my favorite, drink when I am on the run. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock hits, picking up the kids, taking them from one sport to another till dinner. There is really I get hungry till dinner. So those are lifesavers for busy people driving to work. In the morning, you may not have time. You put in all your greens, your fruits, your frozen fruits. There comes our frozen aisle, the aisle from which you get all your fruits. So throw them everything in our NutriBullet or the small blender that I was talking about. And again, all these appliances, they are and all these, tools that you have in the kitchen, you're going to keep using them. And they help you create all these nutritious and healthy meals in no time. So yes,
stay away from
all the way for smoothies.
So you want to stay away from the juicers, which
Yes.
take the fiber out. You don't want that because fiber is the key thing. That's the whole reason.
Yes.
The NutriBullet, Vitamix, or those mixers are very powerful. They mix everything and keep the fiber in. In fact, some of the smoothies we had experimented and Vitamix recommended whole banana with skin. You can't tell. And you put the whole banana in that, and with the skin, it gives you very creamy and it's very, very nutritious. So same thing like strawberries you put in with the leaves intact. Normally, you may not even want to eat those green leaves, but in the smoothie, everything goes. So that's a good point, Dr. Moise, you brought it up. It's very practical.
In smoothies, we add kale. My kids drink that.
Normally, they won't eat. But
normally, they would resist a little bit, but in smoothie, spinach, kale, everything goes. And now it's a staple. Spinach in smoothie is staple in my house. So where is the spinach? I have to make smoothie. So,
right.
Of course, all these things that you have, that you buy from the supermarket, all these appliances, meal after meal, you're going to make healthy and nutritious meals for yourself.
How about a typical Indian dinner? What would you recommend?
So typical Indian dinner in my house, we do it, at least 3 times a week.
Right.
And I find that the easiest to make it the vegan way.
Mm.
We make dal, lentils. We use yellow lentils because it's always, we are always rushing in and out, and the yellow lentils are the easiest one to cook. So typically we will use yellow lentils. Then the other day, next day we will use red lentils, the masoor dal, which is also very easy to cook. You use any lentils. So our dinner is a lentil. Then quinoa, it's our to-go grain. We have
quinoa in place of rice, right?
Yes, we have substituted quinoa for years. We have substituted rice. White rice has been out, and
right.
to-go is quinoa, and then any vegetable.
Right.
Make any of your favorite vegetable. And I tend to roast most of the veggies, just because it's just easier, and I like a little more texture and crunch, and my kids also enjoy that. But you can cook them your way with less oil or low oil or even no oil. We end up making, gravies for vegetables, right? We make with no oil.
Right.
And you will absolutely realize you'll miss no flavor because the flavor is in spices, as I say it again.
Now comes the big 4-letter word, roti.
Roti.
I think Dr. Shah has the magic formula for that. So
India is addicted to rotis, and who is not? All civilizations have their own versions of
their own versions of bread.
But the regular wheat flour is not good. It is very highly concentrated. One roti is almost 6.5 teaspoonful of sugar. So one bakri, like Gujarati is like that, is 13 teaspoons because it's twice the concentration of the roti.
Right.
So that's something we really have to address. So you had a couple of options. There are some people who can go to the extreme. So because I do it myself before I recommend to my patients, because I had visited Trader Joe's, for example, and they had a sprout beans bread and things like that. So they're using all that protein and sprout beans and all that making a bread. So I said, how come we cannot use mung? Mungs are very popular. So So the mung flour, which is available in the stores, and you can even create your own in Vitamix. In 20 seconds, you can have a fresh flour, right? So, and combining with chana besan, with like roasted chana, and mix it and all that. My idea was to walk away from the wheat.
Right.
And we started doing that. And for the bonding, you can use either sesame seeds or just crushed sesames, or because we're trying to avoid the oil and all that. All three combined, it brings amazing results. Like I had one patient, his A1C was like 7.9.
Wow, that's
It brought
incredible.
down to 6.2. 6.2 in matter of 3 months. And the guy wrote down how many bhakris he ate on it. He says, Dr. Shah, I had 96 bhakris, you know. So I was impressed that somebody is listening to me. But it really brought tremendous results. So I think that's something people can pursue. I had another patient, you know, he got fed up with, he says, Doc, this is really too much. So I said, all right, do nothing, but at least go for a whole wheat flour or multigrain flour or something, which is, you know, has a lot of more fiber. Even that started working for him. So it was like an in-between solution, but it's still good. So I think that's the main caution that I guess people need to do. Is definitely regular wheat flour is not
Yeah.
good. And
No.
roti and bakri and thepla and all those things can be made, you know, in a little different way by whole grain flour. So those are the very important things. So
Some whole grain flours, millet flours, jowar,
right.
Pearl barley.
Yes. And I recommend, because if you have a very strong blender like Vitamix or
Vitamix,
Ujulek,
yes.
you can just make your own flour. I would rather do that than rely on packaged flours. You know, you don't know how whole grain it can be. But we try to do with our whole mung flour, and came out beautiful, very soft and very natural and fresh. So it was very good.
The multigrain flour, the so-called multigrain flours available in the store are
Yeah.
not purely multigrain.
That's what I'm saying. So
most of it is wheat, and that also refined.
yes,
Right?
so you have to be very careful.
Very careful when you.
And Kalindi, desserts.
Oh my God.
Yesterday I tested your cake, and the vegan cake.
I have my dessert ready.
Oh my God, it was so beautiful, so delicious. So tell some to the viewers something about it. What are the ingredients do you use in making?
So, dessert is something which I don't like to miss out on dessert, being a vegan or plant-based. So
Right.
I try to, carry my dessert everywhere I go in case they don't have one for me. But generally speaking, like, since I went vegan, I realized that I wanted to avoid sugar, refined sugar, because you can get vegan desserts with sugar, but I tried to create something that I can eat healthfully and I can enjoy a little each day. So I use dates, nuts, usually, like I use that as a base.
Nice.
If you were, the cheesecake you're talking about, right, Dr. Shah?
Yes.
The base of the cheesecake is with dates, almonds, walnuts, a little bit of cocoa powder. I love my dark chocolate, and
Wow.
we all know dark chocolate is very good for you.
Very good. Correct.
Yes. So that's the base of dessert. So typical cheesecake will have a base of a cracker or a flour. So our whole food plant-based dessert is full with nutrients. It has dates, it has nuts, it has cocoa, and the dates will bind everything together. And the nuts have oils. Remember, the oil will again bind everything together. So it makes a beautiful base for a cheesecake.
Looks like it's a beautiful journey, Kalinde, you took us. Just be careful of all the viewers may not end up at your kitchen, so very nice, excellent. So very happy.
Right. And Dr. Shah, you make truffles out of it too, right?
Yes, we do. I do. And I love it.
The
truffles I make out of the marjul dates, and I mix with organic cocoa powder. I mix it in one batch in Vitamix or something. And then individually, I crush the seeds, all kinds of seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, and because all full of omega-3s and all nuts like cashews or walnuts or almonds and hazelnuts and you name it, pecans and everything. I have all these batches and then put the whole thing together, just roll them up, and I keep it in the deep freezer. I have no problem because every time I bring it, I bring it into the regular freezer and it's fresh again. So it's very good. My morning breakfast, yours is oats, mine is chocolate truffle. It's not a truffle, but I call it truffle. But so just you can dream about truffle, which is, but it's really nice. So it's dates and organic cacao powder. It's really beautiful.
I just want to add one more thing, and I think we should understand that having snacks between meals is actually not very helpful. You know, it actually can cause you to become more obese and cause more diseases. What plant-based food does, because it has such high fiber and has so much nutrition inside it, that you don't feel like eating for the next few hours. So, you know, you don't have to, because if you have refined sugar, if you have animal protein, etc., you feel like eating again and again because it's not really filling. But if you have plant-based, it's so filling. So for many hours, you can go without having any more snacks. And that's actually very important for, you know, your body to recover in between your meals.
And very rightfully said, Dr. Kasubai. That's why I said my bowl of oats, it looks like a small bowl of oats, but it has plenty of fiber in it, and it will keep me full till, you know, whatever my next meal is. The bowl of sprouted beans that I showed, it again has so much nutrition in it, plus it has so much fiber and complex carbs. It will again keep me full to the next meal. So that's why I didn't talk too much about snacks, because if you eat the whole food plant-based way and try to design and create your meals, easier meals, nothing complicated, they will take you to your next meal. And you know what? You will not have much snack craving. And if you have, you know, snack craving, go for a mashtul date, go for a piece of fruit, catch your nuts. So, you know, you have plenty of options there, right? So there is no reason not to adopt it. The best way to go is vegan way.
Yes.
The whole food plant-based way.
Healthy life,
right?
vegan way.
Healthy life, the vegan way.
Wonderful.
So,
thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kasubai and Dr. Shah, again,
Thank you.
for a wonderful discussion on how to practice veganism in the kitchen. And I hope by now we have convinced, not only convinced, you know, viewers to I think they will be excited to go into their kitchen and start cooking the vegan way. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.